Welcome back to Tantrum Toys, and we are going to do a two-part episode on robots, or more specifically, transforming robots. We're talking about GoBots, Transformers, and other ones you probably have never even heard of. Remco, and even Bandai made its own version of Transformers. This is this week's haul, believe it or not. This came from one spot. I was surprised as much as you are probably seeing this. It's a lot of stuff from 1982 to 84, and we're going to go through it, and it's probably going to take us 2 episodes because there's a lot of stuff to get through. So we're going to start off with the Transformers real quick, just to get them out of the way, because I didn't really want to focus on them too much, just because they're pretty common, actually. Even the G1 stuff, you find that stuff just about everywhere. So here's a Transformer right here. This was kind of their little toy line. They made like little bitty cars and trucks trying to get into the Matchbox kind of Hot Wheels market. They were actually pretty close in size. As you can see, it's got the same type of wheels, and they actually came in like little boxes. They do transform into robots. Toy line was not real successful. I mean, some people did, collect it because they grew up with it, but their parents got it for them. But this stuff pops up from time to time, and I've never actually found a collector that's really been after trying to get all of them. But it did come in this lot, and it's kind of neat. It's a little black pickup truck. I don't know the character's name. I haven't looked him up. A lot of the stuff I haven't looked up. Some of the stuff I'm going by memory and experience. So we're going to put him aside. And then we got a G1. This is, I believe, Rumble. 1984 Hasbro Transformers. He turns into a cassette, which is, they've made several of these over the years, and they're very popular. Some of the characters are rare depending on who it is, but as you can see, he does turn into, I'm not going to do the whole thing, but it does turn into a cassette on that side. Pretty cool stuff, no weapons, the joints are very loose, but as I said, this was a huge lot that I found, and I just wanted to make a quick mention of it. We also have Huffer. This is a G1 Transformer as well. It is a Minicon, or Mini-Bot. They didn't come with any guns or weapons. This is the line where actually Bumblebee came from, and Cliffjumper. They made a bunch of these guys as well. There's a blue truck version of this called Pipes. He's a little bit different on the chest, and his face is a little different, but it's pretty much the same mold. So there's another G1 Transformer. Here is also a Constructicon. I don't know his name actually off the top of my head. It actually needs to be cleaned. It's a little rough, but nothing's broken on it. I don't have his little handgun, but he actually helped form Devastator, so there were 6 of these. This is a G1 Transformer as well. So we're going to put him out of the way. So what we got left is we got Ravage. It's another cassette, and everybody knows Ravage because he was in the movies. The Ravage was a very popular one of the cassettes, one of Soundwave's little minions. He turns into a cassette as well, but he's a Black Panther. Did not get his weapons, which were like 2 little silver rockets that plug in. But I did get, I pulled this aside, but I'll show you real quick, the weapons for Steeljaw. And Steeljaw was sort of the Autobot counterpart to him. But these are actually the weapons for Steeljaw. These actually came with all this stuff I got too. Pretty cool though. I haven't seen Ravage. Ravage doesn't pop up too often. You can get him online. He's not super valuable, but to get a really good one that's complete, you might pay a little bit of money for that one. So we'll put him aside. Here's the most unique thing out of the bunch. Well, there's actually a couple, but oh wait, this is a Transformer 2. Thank you for falling over. You did let me know. It's a Minicon from probably 2000 on. It's got like this little post right here. I don't know if you can see that or not. But this actually unlocked special weapons in the bigger counterparts that transformed. So when you plugged him in, a weapon or some kind of hidden compartment would pop loose. These are technically like a key in a sense, but they turn into robots. It actually has a wind-up action that you pull back and he springs forward. This one doesn't really work as well. It's actually pretty good shape aside from that problem. So that's another Transformer. So we're narrowing down the field here. So we've got, one of the more interesting things I got was this. This is a Transformer Happy Meal toy. They did sell a toy line that is actually the common one you see a lot. It was like a little hamburger that turns into a robot, or a Egg McMuffin that turns into a robot. But before they did that line, they did these in the 80s. This was like 84, 85. This is actually a kind of a replica of these guys, in a sense. This is actually gears. But these are sold regionally. So like you could not get these everywhere in the country. They just did not exist. They're very rare. I've seen one go for actually about 75 bucks. This guy's a little dirty, needs to be cleaned up. This is probably the third one I've found since I've gotten into toys in the last 15, 20 years. But it's pretty cool. This is actually the one that everybody wants because this was the more common one, but everybody got it. But it's still rare. If you find these things, they're just super rare. I mean, they're really cool. I'd hang on to them. They made a bunch of them. There's a Bumblebee, there's a Cliff Jumper. They change the color, so there's a couple versions of him where he's like, I think, blue and red or pink and black, but they change the colors out. They don't transform, they're just little figurines, but pretty awesome. I mean, that's pretty unique. So we'll put that aside, and then to actually step it up to more of a modern times, this is I think 2003. That's not really modern, it's still old too. This is another, let's take a quick look. 2006, 3 years off, sorry. This was also another Transformer Happy Meal toy, but as you can see, they've kind of evolved over the years. They went from the figurines to something that actually really, turned into something. Anyway, that's another Transformer. We'll get him out of the way. And we'll put all that stuff on the side. Protect humanity and to be there for the time of the awakening for humanity. Humanity went into isolation and then hibernation because of solar flares that scorched the earth, and they left these robots behind to eventually help them rebuild the future that will be, or that is to come. So this is actually one of the bad guys, though. There's a sect of them that turned bad in the sense that they don't believe in the humanity thing because it became a myth after so many years. But all these guys, they actually are interchangeable. Their parts pop off. The weapons are actually motorized. They wind up. But this is a Tommy thing that they made, 1984. And actually, this next one is actually from the personal collection. So we'll leave him there. We'll move the parts over. This is actually how they came. That's original packaging. It hasn't been opened. That's Thrasher, I believe. He's one of the little Scudder robots, and you actually pull him back and he shoots forward and the little clamps move. 1984. They all came with a comic book because they partnered up with Marvel. When they made these, each one came with a comic book, and I think there's a set of 6 or more. And that's as old as it gets. That's pretty good for, from 1984. It's not even turning yellow. It's not a remake. I mean, that's the real deal. So there's that guy. That's actually from my collection. That didn't come from the find this week. So that was Tommy from 1984. Let's move forward. So to show you that a lot of these companies still stick around even after all these years. Transformers came out with the Dinobots in one of their movies for the first time, and this is actually one of the Dinobots. They actually named him Strafe. It's not really Strafe. He should be Swoop, but whatever. It's whatever they decided to do. Here he is here. That's actually from the Transformer movie. But guess who made this? Tommy. So here you go, from 1984 to a few years ago. So they're still in the business of making toys. But this was actually designed by Tommy, not Hasbro. Hasbro licensed them, or they licensed from Hasbro to make their own version, and I don't know how they worked that out. But it's actually one of the Dinobots. They actually paid him to do that. So it's kind of interesting, even from the 80s, how they all jumped on board to become part of the robot transforming phase. And here we are, modern times, and they're still around, still competing in a sense. Check back with us for part 2. We got more to go. I've got some more Bandai stuff, and then some other robot stuff I wanted to show you, some vintage stuff. That's really cool.